Hello, everyone. This is Daniel Senner, Community Conservation Coordinator for the Methow Conservancy. I am here today with Becca Windell. Becca is a research scientist with the Prue Lab, part of the University of Washington's Predator Prey Project. While the whole project looks at a variety of different species, Becca's research focuses on our mesocarnivores, such as bobcats and coyotes. In addition to sharing her expertise as our future February First Tuesday speaker, Becca has been working with the Conservancy on an effort to incorporate volunteers into this research. So I have invited her here today to introduce herself and this exciting new opportunity. Welcome, Becca.
Hi, thanks, Daniel.
Would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself and your connection to the Methow?
Sure. Yeah, so my name is Becca Windell, and my connection to the Methow starts, through my husband. He grew up here in Washington and has visited the Methow throughout the years. So it's a place that's been near and dear to him for many, many years, somewhere that he knew that he wanted to make home eventually. So I met him coming from Colorado, and we actually had our first date in the Methow at the old Schoolhouse Brewery. And first time I came to the Valley, just fell in love with the area. I was coming from Colorado, so just the general geography of the area and landscape was really familiar to me with the ponderosa pine forests and shrub steppe. So just beautiful area. And over the last 4 or 5 years, we've been slowly but surely making our way into the Valley. We have a little homestead up in the hills near Loop Loop that we've been working on, and then excited to be moving to the Valley full time this spring. That's personal connection, and I've just been really excited to follow the work of the Methow Conservancy and partner on this project.
That's awesome. That's really cool that you guys had your first date here.
Yep.
Nice. Can you tell us more about the University of Washington's Predator Prey Project?
Yeah, definitely. So the Predator Prey Project it's a collaboration between the University of Washington and the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife. So basically 2008, wolves started to naturally recolonize the state of Washington, where the first documented wolf pack, as probably many of you know, was here in the Methow, the Lookout Pack. So since 2008, wolves have gradually been recolonizing the state, and this project was born to look at all sorts of different potential ecological impacts of these recolonizing wolves to our state. So there's several different scientists working on the project, looking at a variety of different questions, but as you mentioned, coyotes and bobcats are where I'm focusing, specifically how wolves might be impacting their population dynamics. So how many coyotes and bobcats there are on the landscape in areas with or without wolves, and then also their behavior, where we're really focused on scavenging behavior. So whether or not wolves or other large carnivores end up helping populations of coyotes and bobcats by providing them extra food resources, so leftover from carcasses, for example, or whether these carcass locations where there's some potential forage end up being these hot spots for coyotes and bobcats to come into conflict with their larger counterparts and potentially die.
Sweet. How long have you been with the project, and what's kind of your role there?
Yeah, so I have been with the project for about 1.5 years now. I'm working as a research scientist, where just helping to coordinate our field work, both here in the Methow and the other study area that we have over in Northeast Washington, in the kind of Chewelah-Colville area. Our field work, I guess specifically, is trying to right now collect data to answer those questions that I was talking about, where we have a few different methods that we're using. We have coyotes and bobcats that are collared throughout both of our study areas. So these are GPS collars. They kind of work like a cell phone tracking device and let us know where the animals are and how they're moving throughout the landscape. We're putting camera traps, so these motion activated cameras on carcasses to look at those scavenging dynamics. And then the other big piece of data that we're collecting is scat. So going across the landscape looking for specifically coyote, cougar, wolf, and bobcat scat. And yeah, we can use some pretty awesome genetics sampling to try to figure out how many animals there are on the landscape using that method.
Awesome, really cool. So what is the new community science project that you're working on with the Conservancy?
Yeah, so we're super excited about this project. So one area that we have really needed help with and that we're excited to get support from the community with is the scat collection portion. So again, as I mentioned, basically as we're going through the landscape collecting these scats, we can use genetics to understand where animals are on the landscape. Kind of a brief rundown of how this works is that anytime an animal defecates on the landscape, there's some cells that come off on the surface of the scat. And so we use then genetics to swab, well, we first swab those scats looking for DNA on each scat, and those cells then can basically help us to tell first and foremost exactly what species the scat came from. We can tell what sex the animal was from those genetics, and we can also tell exactly who took that poop on the landscape. So we have a few different transects throughout the study area that we're already sampling as a crew, but there's all sorts of different pockets that we don't have just the capacity to sample, and we're really looking for volunteers to help us to collect scat across the Methow.
Very cool. So you are going to need volunteers to help you collect scat. And how are they going to do that exactly?
Yeah, so we have a set of routes that we've been developing all across the Mazama, Winthrop, Twist, and then hopefully even down into the kind of Carlton area, where we're hoping that volunteers will be able to help us by skiing, snowshoeing, fat biking, hiking, whatever sort of mode of winter transportation suits you in the terrain, go along these, 2 to 6 mile routes and look really specifically for scat along the landscape and collect that for us for genetic analysis. And I guess in addition to the scat collection portion, also excited to just help people learn a little bit more about the animals that are lingering in their neighborhoods or along ski trails. So yeah, that's sort of our main goal for this winter.
Sounds really fun. I'm excited to be a part of it. Do you have any quick facts about coyotes or bobcats that might wet people's whistles about what they might be able to learn being a part of this project?
Ooh, definitely. Yeah, so I think one big thing that is kind of exciting is, we know that there's animals all around us on the landscape, but basically as they're moving throughout the landscape, there's all sorts of different signs that they're leaving behind. So clues of exactly how they use the landscape, where they've been. So yeah, something that we're really excited to help people learn is just differences between coyote and bobcat scats, for instance. They're very similar in shape and size, but there's some really key little things that we can look at in terms of just how the scat is shaped or what's in it, for instance, or also what tracks are nearby to help us to identify those scats. So yeah, excited to impart a little bit of that knowledge and then just learn a little bit more also about which animals we have collared and running around the landscape here as well.
Yeah, I typically only think about coyotes as I hear the chorus of their yips and howls at night as I'm going to bed. So I'm excited to learn a little bit more about what they actually do during the day and when they're active. So super excited. This is going to be a really cool opportunity for folks to both learn on a personal level and support a project that helps us understand important ecosystem dynamics at a critical time. So for those who would like to learn more about how to sign up for a potential volunteer training, scroll down in eNews to our advertisement about dates and times of trainings. If you have any questions about this project, please email me at daniel@methowconservancy.org, and I will answer your questions. Becca and I look forward to seeing you out on the land. All right, bye.